backwards now.
I think this is a good note for everybody out there.
He says that I don't pull well on TikTok, so
He doesn't.
It's
It's a fact. It just doesn't pull well. It's called social media for a reason, and it's not selfish media.
I just gotta clear something up. You weren't the 12th man on the field right now, right?
There is no easy way to get anything ever.
This is Mornings with Matt, the Dear
What the heck?
Studio podcast where we discuss the
I was so ready.
between life and acting.
Oh man,
Go
she
ahead,
better be on.
I'll be real, that was an accident, but we'll take an Astrid intro. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt, the Daring Acting Studio podcast, where we connect the art of acting with life. I don't know if Joey's ever going to cut back to me, but just because you're sad, Joey, that you missed the intro, Astrid did a good job. Give her some cred. Give her
I
some
was
cred.
so hyped. I was waving my arms, and then I was like, that.
Yo, I panicked.
the heck?
I panicked because I just hit the first one because we were like we were framed, we were doing all this stuff last minute.
No. It's not on you. That's
Let's be
funny.
real. Let's be real. We were in survival mode.
Listen, I kept the button there for a reason, and that's
Yo,
'cause it's a
listen.
good
Yo, listen
intro.
better. Listen. Yo, we were in survival mode.
Yeah,
That's what
I heard that.
That's a good transition. Like,
Yeah, it's a
use
good
it.
transition.
Really
Like-
nice
Like use it.
transition.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah,
Like
The actual title.
like use it.
yeah. Okay.
Yo,
in survival
today
mode.
we're gonna be talking about survival mode, baby.
surviving.
Speaking of survival mode, Bry Guy is in his own personal survival mode.
Yeah.
As you were yesterday. I was like, Brian, did you go to church? He's like, no, I slept until noon.
Yeah.
And then this
No,
morning.
he slept until longer than noon.
Oh.
It was really funny. I came in and I had a self-tape yesterday, and then I came in at like 11:05. I was listening on the radio, and I was like, oh, gotta go turn the TV on, like the Cardinals are on. And I turned it on just to see the sack, but then I was like yelling around the house, and he's like asleep in his bed. I was like, Brian, the Cardinals are on. We need to watch a game.
I woke up to that. That's for sure. So,
You're like, there's no way I slept through that.
yeah, you were
Yeah.
very loud.
I was freaking out, man.
So the problem is this, and we don't know what the answer is, obviously. There's so many question marks with your health.
Yeah.
It sucks. But I always go back to like so recently, let's put it this way. Recently Leanne's been complaining about her eyes. She's like, my eyes keep burning. And she kept blaming it on the days where she woke up early.
Okay.
She loved to blame that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it might not be that, And then this morning, she's like, oh, my eyes have that burning thing again. She's like, and I slept all night. I slept really good. I'm like, so stop blaming that.
It's not that.
Stop blaming that. It's probably just allergies. It's allergy season.
Yeah.
Let's take some Allegra, see what happens.
Yeah.
You know what the problem is, though? She's pregnant. And I don't know if you know this, but everything has a label that says, if you're pregnant, probably shouldn't take
I've
this
seen
without
that,
talking
yeah.
about it. Like everything. It doesn't matter. Like I tried to give her I was like, oh babe, I'm doing this healthy apple cider vinegar thing, at night. You want one? She's like, I don't know, can pregnant people do it? I was like, I don't know. How would I ever know that? So I look it up and it's like, if you're pregnant, ask your doctor. It's like, well, you can't.
You can't just put if you're pregnant, ask your doctor on everything.
That's what they do.
I know.
That's what they do because they want to make sure they can't get sued.
Oh, that's funny.
It's cheap. It's like, come on.
I feel, and this is, I'll probably get in trouble for this, but I feel like a pregnant lady. Like,
Okay. You're definitely gonna get in trouble for this.
the nausea is insane.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, it's funny because
That's a first trimester pregnant. Most pregnant women. Yeah.
Is it? Because I looked it up. I'm just looking up like nausea stuff, like over and over, and every article is connected to pregnancy, like all of them. And I'm like, well, I'm not pregnant, but it still applies, I guess, the nausea stuff.
Well, so the weird thing is, and then this is why I was bringing this up, right? Because you're in survival mode right now. But when we're in survival mode, one of the most important things is that we look at things like an engineer. Okay, and I was trying to explain to my wife my brain because it's a weird brain that I have. But just the other night we were out. We went to the kids' cantata. That's like a little Christmas thing that they were singing at and doing some Bible verses. It was very cute. So we're on the way home. We're all dressed up, and Leanne's like, "We should go to that one neighborhood and do the lights thing." And I was like, "Really?" I was like tired, I'm like, "All right, fine." So we started driving that direction, and I'm like, "Well, I don't know where it is. I don't remember. We have to look it up."
I was gonna say, did she turn the kids on you? Like, well, kids, what do you think?
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. She didn't. We made the decision together. But here's what happened. So she wanted to go, and I was like kind of tired. I was like wanted to go the next night or something. But I'm like, all right, we'll do it. So then we're going, and then I said, look it up. So then she looks it up, and she's like, this can't be right. It's like it says it's on this street, Voltaire, but it's like. It's saying it's like 15, 20 minutes away, and it can't be. It's got to be over here. And I'm like, you're right. So I was like, I pull over. I'm like, let me have the phone. So I look up Voltaire, and I looked it up differently. And I'm like, did the article say it was in Phoenix or Scottsdale? She said Phoenix. And I went to the Scottsdale Voltaire, Street Voltaire, right? Found Voltaire. And there's no lights there. I mean, there's like 2 houses have lights. So then I start weaving in and out of the neighborhood a little bit, heading back toward Phoenix, back toward Tatum Boulevard. And she's now finally gets tired where I was. And she's like, oh, it's okay, babe. We've seen enough lights. And I was like, no, here's the problem, babe. I was ready to quit a long time ago, but now you got me on the hunt.
Yeah.
So like, I don't quit. And she's like, oh, it's fine if we just, I'm like, it's not fine. I'm like, winners win and losers lose. And she's like, are you calling me a loser? And I'm like, no, I'm not calling you a loser. I'm just saying winners win. And she's like,
I'm a winner.
And he's like, that makes me a loser. I'm like, it doesn't. I'm just saying. So anyway, we're weaving in and out of the neighborhood. And here's all I'm doing, right? I'm just keeping Voltaire. I just know approximately Voltaire is going to be right here on my right. And I'm kind of weaving out of the neighborhood. And then I see out of the corner of my eye, this is the perfect timing. I see cars lined up to make a right into a neighborhood, and I'm like here, so I'm going straight, and I see the cars, and she's like, babe, really, like we don't have to find the lights. And I go, Leanne, the lights you are looking for are 1 street over. And she goes, if you found this, I don't know even what to say. And then we found it. It was right there. It was amazing. And it was a really fun experience. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad it was her idea, etc. She was glad that I didn't quit. But the whole point of saying that is I then explained to her how I did it, because she's like, how did you do that? Like, how did you do it? And I was like, well, we knew it was on Voltaire. We knew it was in Phoenix. We knew it was approximately in this area. I said, all I had to do was find Voltaire. Once I find Voltaire, if I can get myself back to the spot where we think it is, if I can rule that out, and I was like, if I did get to approximately that place and I saw Voltaire and nothing was there, then I would have quit at that point.
Yeah.
At that point, I'd have gone home. But I'm like, I had to rule it out first. I had to rule out that I can find Voltaire in the area that we want to be in. Once I rule that out, then cool. But until I rule that out, I'm not going to quit. Like, we're so close.
Yeah.
We're right there.
That's the biggest delusion about driving in Phoenix is because I learned how to drive in Wickenburg, and then we ended up moving down here. But all the street names are the same, no matter which city you're in, because technically they run through. But sometimes there's like dead ends, like you said, or like the street cuts off and then it picks back up in Scottsdale. And so it was like people would tell me like this street name, and I would do that same thing. I would just go to that street where I knew it on this side of Phoenix. They'd be like, no, in Scottsdale. And I was like, why is the same street here and in Scott? Like, who does that?
Well,
Not
here's
cool.
the thing. It's actually really smart, as it turns out. But I get your point.
Yeah.
The idea is this is because in other states it's way worse. Like at least we have a grid.
Yeah.
So the idea being like you want it to run ideally all the way through, even if there are houses in between and whatever. You want that to be the way that it is. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I was saying this, the whole ruling it out idea, the point going back to your health here. So what we want to do is we want to rule it out. So here's the deal. So you're nauseous this morning,
Yeah.
and it was a little tough, and it is tough currently, but you slept all day yesterday. So that didn't help.
So the problem is, and you got to track everything, right?
Correct.
So then, like,
Correct.
And that's why I'm starting that today, where I put down the time I got up and all that jazz, go to sleep. But the nausea is pretty bad in the morning usually, and at night. So the night especially, it's super hard to fall asleep. So like if you look at that before Sunday, I don't think I went to bed until like 3 or 3:30. So then from there, you look at that, and then it's like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right around that time, I got 8 hours. So it's like, tracking all of it is just hard.
Yeah.
But you suggested that, and so I started that today, where I'll put time in for what time I got up. I'll put it for everything that happens, everything.
That's good because you have to look at it scientifically, right? That way you can decide what's what. Because here's the other thing, like why I would always ask myself why was I up till 3:30? Like what was it that I did or didn't do that put me in that position that I was there, right? And sometimes you forget. You're like, oh, I had a cup of coffee, or oh, I forgot about this, or
Right.
And I know, like when I was sick just recently, and I had like backaches and stuff, I would try to time it so that I could take like an Advil PM that would help me go to sleep, because I really needed that when I was sick at a very particular time.
Yeah.
Because I realized from 2 days in a row how much that knocked me out, that I was going to give me for sure 8 hours of sleep. So like if I'm going to take this and I want to get up at this time, I got to take the pill by this time, or there's no way that
Yeah.
that I
Yeah,
can
for
get in.
sure.
Well,
I felt so bad because he can't have Benadryl right now, because it's because of blood pressure, like it brings you down. So I was like, take a Benadryl, and he was like, I can't. And I was like, oh, what about like NyQuil, something like that? And he was like, that also brings your blood pressure down. And I was like, I got nothing for you, because that's what I do when I need to fall asleep. That's it.
I had something, and it's gone now. I forgot.
It's
What?
like one of-
You ran out of the medicine that helps you fall asleep?
No. I mean, I was about to say something, and then it's gone.
Oh,
It's gone.
maybe it's because I pulled you down for a second because you were doing the breathing thing.
Yeah, I
again.
noticed that. Yeah.
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 I told you last time you have to move the mic and put your face.
I know. But I was because I was here because I was like,
See how nobody
about
can
to
hear
say
me when I'm
something.
like. Yeah, see, I can still hear you because you're here.
All right, guys, let me just break the ice here. Just be honest in the comments. If you can hear Brian when he's breathing off the mic, just be
say
like,
something.
yes, we can hear it. Like, because you know, here's the thing: our headphones are a little more sensitive. They're louder because we're coming straight from the box. However, I feel like you probably hear it. So, like, hit us up. Be honest. Do you hear Brian's? Do you hear that? And if you do, it's okay. Be honest about it.
All
Just
right.
gotta
And
know.
I remember now.
Oh, good, good. Because I was about to change topics, so hit it.
Okay. What I was going to say was with the tracking, the cool part is because some of it, I think you'll be able to find, like you said, the things that you can do, because there's always little things. And sometimes there's just nothing you can do. And sometimes I think it's just like there's like a sickness that you just can't control. Like there's literally nothing you can do except for going
Survive, except for survive, which is
Exactly.
what today's all about.
That's why I was gonna bring up today, because like today, there's no beating the nausea. There's no beating it. I threw up this morning. Like there's no winning against that thing.
We don't know that to be true. That's just right now, though. That's not the preparation for today.
True. Possibly that's the case. is what I'm saying.
Possibly, yeah, sure, possibly.
So, but you won't know unless you track. That was my point. And
Yeah.
so for today, either way, there's nothing I can do to make it go away. I've tried like 3 different things to make it better, and it's not necessarily better. However, like I'm sitting by the mic, so
Yeah,
that's
you're surviving.
yeah.
You're surviving. Sometimes the best thing you can do is survive. So that's the thing I want to tell people. Okay, is like everyone's talking about 2020 as like 2020. That was the worst. And you know what? I agree. It was pretty bad year overall with different stuff that happened. But let's look at it this way and go, okay, we survived too. All right? And there were probably a lot of times this year when you felt like you were in survival mode. I know for us there were plenty of times. And then when you're very honest with yourself, you realize there were times when legitimately some things were out of our hands. And then other times where legitimately we were using things that were out of our hands as excuses for why we weren't going 10x and doing the stuff that we know we can do. So we essentially put ourselves sometimes, some weeks or months of this year, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, we put ourselves into survival mode. We played the victim when we didn't have to play the victim sometimes. And I'm not saying all the time. I'm just saying it happened where there were days where we didn't give our all, and yet we just want to blame something like the coronavirus or whatever else. And you know, a great example of this would be the Arizona Cardinals, honestly. If we want to talk a little football here. Arizona Cardinals won big. Hassan Reddick put up 5 sacks. Arizona Cardinals defense put up 9 sacks.
9 sacks. This is 9 fingers right here.
Pretty amazing. You know what's really fun is when I left physical therapy on Friday, the receptionist is a Giants fan, and they had won 5 in a row, you know.
Yeah.
And so on my
Didn't
way
matter.
out, I stopped and I said, "Hey, I just wanted to say sorry ahead of time." And she's like, "Oh, what's the matter?" And I was like, "Oh, because the Giants got beat so bad by the Cardinals." And she's like, "We'll see."
Now you get to go in there and be like, I tried to apologize.
I was
guys."
thinking about getting her a $5 Starbucks gift card and just say, "Hey, this is $1 for every sack Hassan Reddick put up against."
Oh, that's hilarious.
gosh,
that's freaking hilarious. No, it's crazy. The energy is back. The boys are back in town.
Yeah.
As they say. I'm pretty excited for the end of the season, but also like just as far as the Giants, like I'll bet us against the Giants every day because we own them. Like there's certain teams in
Like the Rams own us, right?
yeah, there's certain teams in the NFL that just like have their number, and we are 4-0 against the Giants, and they're just like whenever we play them, it's crazy, but we always have this crazy amount of sacks.
Yeah.
Like last year, Chandler Jones had 4 by himself. Patrick Peterson had 1. So like there's certain things where it's like whatever it is, they just get the scheme, they understand the matchups, and then they go execute every time they play.
Sometimes it's psychological too.
Yeah.
You know, like that is a real thing where teams just start like they just know. And think about that with Thought Life, with the stuff we talk about around here too. They just know, oh, this team, we beat that team. Like that's a team we
That's
beat.
the team we
you
beat.
know?
Yeah.
Or that's a team we tend to lose to, and then you end up just screwing it up at the end or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's where we were hopeful, and we still are hopeful, that Kyler Murray is going to change the culture of Arizona Cardinals football because he's a winner. I believe that, even if he's been too individual recently, he's a winner. And so we're hoping that he can change the makeup of our franchise, because we have been the franchise that gets close and then blows it, you know. And I wasn't even like, here's what's crazy. I didn't even realize this till I heard this on the radio yesterday. But the Arizona Cardinals have lost 4 of their last 5
Yeah.
before this game. 4
Yeah.
of their last 5, and the one they won was on a
Hail Mary.
Hail Murray.
Hail Murray. To
Hail
DeAndre
Murray.
Hopkins, my guy.
So without that, we had lost 5 in a row. I mean,
Yeah.
that's nuts. And we shouldn't have lost all those games. It was a bummer. But you look at that and you're going, okay, what did we do to ourselves? We put ourselves in survival mode. Now we can win out and control our own destiny. That's great. But we're not in a place of power. We're not in a place of where we feel at ease in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And we could have been, and probably should have been, based on how we played in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So, you got to flip 2 of those other games that were close, and you got to win. You got to make the kicks. You got to make the right call on 4th down and goal. Like there's a couple things that were huge determining factors that put us in a place where, and I always say, like around here, I always say, like, we don't want to be playing defense. We want to be playing offense, right? But if you put yourself in a position where you're having to play defense, like, you have to just react to what's coming at you. That's survival mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'd rather be on the other side where, like, oh, I'm not, I've survived. Now I'm attacking, and that's where you want to get yourself to. But sometimes you're in survival mode. Cardinals are in survival mode.
Yep. I can say I'm very thankful to the New York Football Giants because they shut out the Seahawks at home and then we killed them on their own field, which felt pretty great because, division rivals and everything, they go into Seattle and just totally upset them.
No, it's great. And it's good for our division because we
Yeah.
needed them to take a loss. That's ideal.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of good going on. So let's really quick. Let's talk about survival mode. So there is a purpose for it, and when you get into survival mode, what do you do? How do you handle it? So here's the question, Bri. We'll start with you now before we segue back to business and acting.
Business.
So you mentioned it's possible that maybe you just got nausea and there's nothing you can do about it other than, like, survive the day,
Yeah.
right? So the question is, what do you do? How do you do it? And I think, I was thinking about this morning. I was talking with you guys about this a little bit, but the idea of, like, when I think of survival, I think of Castaway. I think of Tom Hanks sitting on a island by himself for
With a
years
volleyball.
with a volleyball named Wilson. I think of DiCaprio crawling into a bear skin to survive in The Revenant. I think, like, survival, right? So, like, what do you do when it's time to survive? What does that mean, right? And it means not dying.
Yeah.
It means you're still giving 110%. You give what you can. And sometimes what you can is just not quitting.
Yeah.
Just deciding, like this morning, just deciding to get up anyway
Yeah.
through the pain and surviving through it and not expecting more out of yourself other than just showing up.
Yeah.
I think that's and then that's commendable in that time. And then you want to go backwards and go, okay, is there anything that I did that I could have done differently that would have made it so I could have been stronger today, so I didn't have to be in survival mode? And that's the reflection part of it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're just in survival mode, and and survival is the win. Like, if you get captured by enemy, and you're in their prison in a foreign country, like, the goal is to survive. You survive, you win that game. Like that,
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you go into, even like you said this morning, and other, I would even go beyond that into the sickness itself, right? So when I got sick, you guys are in survival mode, like, in an uncontrollable manner, in a sense. Like, you can't make me not sick. When I first got sick, I'm in the hospital.
Right.
There's no leaving.
Truthfully, we can't make you not sick now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been able to help with a couple classes, but it's been last minute. Didn't know it was going to happen and whatnot. It's still hard,
Yeah.
like, for real.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So that's just that is that definition. There's different types, and that's one as an example where it's like,
So let me ask you guys this, because I already kind of have an answer, but maybe So, like, what's the advantage of survival mode? Like, why is it good? Like, why can it be good if you look at it that way?
It can be good because it pushes you in a different way. Like it raises up your levels in a sense, like because you're having to fight, and sometimes when you're not having to, you can get I don't want to say lazy, but
Go ahead and say it.
get lazy. Sure, you get
Yeah.
lazy with
You get
things.
comfortable.
Comfortable, yeah. That's where I was going for.
Which is another form of laziness.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's the whole idea of like not planting while you're harvesting. Same concept there. You're exactly right. And that's why I think, and when you're in survival mode, it's like, I'm gonna die if I don't figure it out. So what happens? You figure it out. Most people, when they're faced with death, are gonna figure it out. So by figuring it out, you figure out a lot of times a better way to do it. So for instance, yes, you got sick, and then Shay had left for personal reasons about 6 months before that or so. So we were used to having 4 of us. We were down to 2 of us, and we were getting buried by certain things. And I just looked at it, and we're in survival mode, and I kind of pulled myself back like a bird, and I'm like, all right, what's the bane of our existence right now? And it was like a couple different tasks, and I found a way to vendor out certain things and track them better than we had in the past. And now I don't see us ever going back away from those things, because it's just a better way to run our particular company that I probably wouldn't have seen, because I wouldn't have even looked for it if we still had the same team intact.
Yeah.
So from the survival mode, found a better way. Now we can rebuild, and we can bring in more employees, and we can build our company to be bigger and bigger and bigger and better. Now with a new foundation on something that just flat out works better.
Yeah, I just want to say to the people watching, like, if you feel that and you've experienced it, comment on it. Love to see your stories about it. That's all I have.
Dad already commented.
Good job, Brian.
He said,
cool.
shoot, small text. He said, I did not handle survival mode as well this last time. Made me more human. That's what he said.
I don't know what he means by that.
I think he meant when Brian was in the hospital this last time.
Oh, he didn't handle it very well?
Yeah.
Well, he's right. He fell apart a little bit, and everybody obviously understands, and I can't even picture my child in the hospital like that. So I totally understand, Uncle Brad. And at the same time, I want you to know you were the strongest the first time Brian went in.
Oh, yeah.
And so
By far.
So for us to be able to speak some truth into your heart and help you through that was a blessing. But thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's tough. Survival mode can be tough, but we can also look at it as number one, there are advantages. There are things we can do and change and alter to make things better long term. And you can find you find a way to survive, and then that sometimes becomes the way. So that's cool. And then number two is you can learn from it, and you can look back and go, what put us into this place of uncomfortability that I don't want to live here? Living in this place stinks. Is there a way that I can run my life, operate my life differently? Can I eat better, sleep different, take different pills? Can I do this or that? Can I run my business in a different way? Like, can I personally do X, Y, or Z to make my life easier, to make my life so I don't have to go through this pain again, and we don't go into the survival mode in the same way. And if you're looking for that while you're in it and you're making adjustments, you'll make your life better in the long run. And unfortunately, it looks like this. When you're in survival mode, the only way to pull out is to just grind. You just have to find a way to survive, right? Relating to you, Brian, I remember I used to drink so much coffee. I mean, I'm talking about maybe 8 or more like servings of caffeine through different beverages per day on certain days. And And I kind of just didn't realize it. I was just like, and I would drink it like even when I didn't want it. Like I would just drink it because I just
Why not?
had nothing to do. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's another coffee. Here we go. And I realized I didn't realize like how much I had put this into my system until the last knee surgery that I had, and I had to fast for 24 hours, including beverages, and I missed like the last hour I could have had food. I fell asleep. It was like 2 a.m. and I missed it, and I had such a bad caffeine withdrawal headache. I thought I was gonna die. Like I really was like worried about my life. It was so bad. I was like curled up. I was in the car just like whining, and Leanne's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No." And then you have to sit in pre-op for like ever before they bring you back. You know how that is.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there just writhing in pain. I cannot wait. This is the weirdest thing, but I could not wait to get put under.
Yeah.
I'm like, I cannot wait for the anesthesiologist to come and just take me out of this misery for 2 hours at least, you know? And thinking back on that, I couldn't have done anything else. I couldn't have worked. I couldn't have written an email. Like I couldn't have done anything other than just make it through the day.
Yeah.
That's how bad the headache was.
Yeah.
You know, and that happens sometimes. Like that does happen. But then it's on me to go, how did this start? Why is it here? And is there anything you can do to prevent this from happening again? And guess what? I've got another surgery coming up. I immediately, 2 weeks ago, started the path of weaning myself off of coffee because I'm like, I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to feel that feeling, because that feeling was terrible.
Facts.
And so now I've had minor headache here and there, dealt with it with some minor, painkillers here and there. And I'm down to one coffee and a tea in the morning now. That's it. So to get off of that, maybe 2 days before the surgery, I just kind of wean off of even those two things, and then boom, I should be good to go. Or at least if I get a caffeine headache, which I might, it won't be like that.
Excruciating.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So that's just an idea for everybody, just to realize we understand, and you should understand with yourself. Like, give yourself credit sometimes for just showing up, just putting up the fight and surviving. I mean, that is something sometimes.
Yeah.
But also learn from it. Take the time to document, to see, to understand what's true, and then get better. I mean, there's nothing else that I can say other than that. Just find a way to grow and get better.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good point. I think no matter what, that's the end goal. Is there's always something to learn from, no matter the situation. Whether you felt like you handled it perfectly or it was a total dud, like there's always decisions you could have made one way or the other, and whether they were better or the right decision or the wrong decision, you don't know unless you reflect on it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make it wrong that you made the decision you did in the moment, always. But you could always look back and be like, well, this technically would have probably been a better choice than what I did, even though this worked out.
Yeah.
Right?
Or it is wrong.
Yeah.
It's flat out wrong. But if you didn't do it maliciously, then okay, it's like, well, I was wrong, but I was also operating with what I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole nother thing that you can kind of think about too. All right, love that. Thanks for surviving with us today, Brian. It's been nice having you on the show, buddy.
You're welcome, buddy.
Yeah, I think you
Great
did.
being here.
I think you did pretty good. You look half alive. That's good.
Hey.
Dakota said earlier, and I didn't get to share.
Chocota banana.
He
Tell me if
said-
there's any comments we got to hit before we wrap it up.
He said, I had something, and then I forgot, end quote. Aw, sleepy Brian. But, like, I just pictured it in his Dakota voice. It was really funny.
Okay.
Like he was like, oh, sleepy Brian. Like,
Yeah.
poor Brian. And with the beanie on too, it's just like, yeah,
It's very
yeah, I could
con-
see it.
Yeah.
Good.
It's
Any
like
other
a
comments
pillow
we got to
for his
hit?
head. No.
All right, let's call it a day
Just
then.
good mornings.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. This has been Mornings with Matt, the Daring Acting Studio podcast. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, help us spread this light-driven content to the planet. God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.